I want to talk about a interview right now that's been popping. It's been hot. Y'all probably seen it. And Club Shay Shay does it again. Club Shay Shay does it again. He had an interview or a sit down with Monique, right? And they went through a whole bunch of shit. I want to break this interview down. This is kind of why I went quick on the other things, because this is what I really wanted the chunk of my show to be about, was this interview. So the first thing that they really touched on was Taraji P. Henson and her struggle with the color purple and Oprah. And I think that's interesting because everything Monique said, now that it's 2024, everything that Monique said, we killed her for it. We believed every rumor that people made up about her. Oh, she's hard to work with. Oh, she's unreasonable. Oh, she has an attitude. Whatever the case is, we believed it. We shunned her when she told us there were some unfair things going on within the industry for black women. Taraji P. Henson comes out, and now we're ready to hear the message from her. Why? I don't know. But I think everybody needs to issue an apology to Monique, because she really fell on the sword for Taraji P. Henson to have her moment. Let's be honest. Because now people are going back to Monique shit and saying, oh man, okay. But without that Monique, the conversation probably never gets opened up for Taraji. Taraji probably never feels powerful enough to say what she says. So shout out to Monique for that, and I think everybody owes her an apology. Second thing I want to talk about was Tyler Perry and Oprah. Tyler Perry lied on Monique, said she was hard to work with. He's the one who started the rumor, according to her. And again, the reason why I love the Monique interview more than the Cat Williams interview. And the reason why I love it more is because there was more validity to it. So Cat Williams came up there and he said a bunch of things, but we can't really fact check him, right? Monique came up there with receipts. She showed Shannon the call. She was giving us certain conversations. Cat didn't really give us any conversation that he had between anyone. Monique is. She's giving names of people who called, when they called, what was said, the last time she was contacted by him. So there's a lot of validity in this episode. And this episode really solidifies a lot of things that Cat said about the industry. And that was the thing that I liked about this interview even more, was that Cat came out, people thought he was crazy. But now, on the tail end of this Monique interview, how can you really say he's crazy? When you find out that Oprah has sort of blacklisted Monique, I mean, she was going to be in The Butler. They took that from her. She was going to be in another movie. They took that from her. She's supposed to be in Empire. They took that from her. Oprah was in the 2 roles she was supposed to be in. So when you start figuring out that, Oprah had her mom and dad and brother on that the brother that molested her. When you start looking at that, how could you not see the validity in these claims when you start piecing it together? The main thing, though, that I got from this interview was, man, black people, we gotta stop harming each other. Some of you black people go through the struggle, triumphs and tribulations, trials and tribulations, overcome every obstacle just to treat your fellow black people the same fucked up way you were treated when you got into the industry. That's what I don't understand. Oprah, you had articles saying that you left because you got paid less than other people. Now you try to silence Taraji when she says it? You try to silence Monique when she says it? Come on now. You're becoming the same thing that you were advocating against. And Oprah, if we're going to be honest, she's sort of a devil. You got the situation in Hawaii that she's tied into. You've got the Monique thing, multiple things with Monique. You got the thing with Taraji. Oprah is not anything she's cracked up to be. And well, how could you say that? You don't know her. Well, I don't know her. But we've seen on multiple occasions from multiple people how she's acted. We only know her from what we see on the TV. But what people are saying about her, her peers, is not good. And why in the community, when somebody reaches that status, they cannot be called out? Same thing with Tyler Perry. She has him on recording. We didn't hear it, but she has him on recording talking about, I shouldn't have made up that rumor about you. And we still hold him in high regards. And that's what you're seeing with Monique. It's so sad. And it speaks to how black women are treated in industries. Black women are getting paid less, right? They're doing just the same amount of work, and then they're getting less recognition. So I think everybody owes her an apology, man. Monique fell on a sword for a lot of these conversations to be happening, and now they are. Kevin Hart, for instance, with her. What did he do? That whole shit happens with her and Tyler Perry, Oprah. He says, you know what, Mo? I'm going to talk to Tyler. I'm going to straighten it out. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to produce a movie for you, executive produce. Okay, time to do it. And what happens? Her company she was supposed to work with, they get a call from Kevin's manager talking about, oh, he doesn't want anything to do with her. This is why I say don't follow people in Hollywood, because the superstar that you know, they have a handler. They have somebody that ultimately says, hey, you shouldn't do this. Kevin didn't call in to that company and say, hey, I don't want nothing to do with Monique. It was his manager that called in and made that decision for him. And then he was too cowardly enough to never speak on it again. Hollywood is crazy, bro, because you're making life-altering decisions and selfish decisions. That's really what it seems like it's all predicated on. You have to burn a bridge to keep your check. Kevin Hart could probably now never talk to Monique again, or if he does, he has to come to terms with the fact that he has to apologize and he fucked her over, or he just never talks to her again. He didn't take an L, though. So I feel like a lot of this interview, that's what it showcased. It showcased that you have to burn bridges to stay alive in Hollywood. He probably wanted to help Monique, but he's got a handler. He has somebody who say, hey, man, this isn't going to be good for you, so you're not going to do it. Not, I don't think you should do it. No, you're not going to. So with all the money and the notoriety and the fame, he still is answering to somebody else. Somebody else is still making decisions for this man. And ultimately, he sits back and says, well, I don't care. If it burns a bridge, it burns a bridge. Fuck it. So that's what you're seeing. I also wanted to touch on, within this interview, Shannon Sharpe. Now, this is about the third groundbreaking interview that Shannon Sharpe has done over there at Club Shay Shay. And at first, and I don't want to say at first, because what I'll say is that I have mixed emotions about Shannon Sharpe. I think two things could be true. Those two things being, one, he's producing some groundbreaking content. For the naysayers that are saying, this is bullshit, go watch something else, more educational, etc., it doesn't take away from the fact that these types of interviews are groundbreaking. And the reason why they're groundbreaking is because they shift the public's opinion on Hollywood, on certain actors, on certain companies. And the reason why these companies and these higher ups want you to think these interviews aren't of value is so you don't remember it. Because if you remember the things that Monique say, if you remember the things that Cat Williams says within those interviews, you're going to look at Hollywood a little bit differently. You're not going to put as much stock in it. You might not watch as many movies. And therefore, the higher ups don't get paid. Whoever's in power doesn't get paid as much as they were. And so that's what I'll say about the interviews being groundbreaking. They are groundbreaking, regardless of what people are saying on the flip side. They are, because they're showing what's really going on behind closed doors. 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have actors and actresses and rappers and singers coming out and giving us the wrongdoings of their peers. We didn't have it. So the smoke and mirrors is fading. That's why this thing is groundbreaking. Now, why it's not groundbreaking, and my other thing that I feel like is true about Shannon Sharpe, is he's becoming a hub for drama between the black community. I hate to say this, but Shannon Sharpe is starting to become a hub for messiness within the black community. He had Kevin Hart come up there. And, you know, a lot of what Kevin Hart said was facts, but he also said a lot of things within that interview that was just strictly hate. Let's call it what it is, man. You talk about niggas' wives. That's unnecessary information. We don't need that shit. Monique, same thing. So at what point do we look at Shannon Sharpe and say, okay, you supposedly don't want drama on your show, etc., but you keep having these people come out and give, you know what I mean, a tell-all on what's going on. So at what point do we say, okay, Shannon, we see what you're doing. You're trying to capitalize off of trauma within the black community. That's what I'm starting to feel about Shannon Sharpe. Because think about the Cat interview. Think about the Monique interview. It had no direction. Them interviews had no direction, man. They were literally started so they could come on there and just tell all however they wanted to tell it for however long they wanted to tell it. I would say to Shannon Sharpe, you have to do a better job at leading the interviews and keeping it on track. Because it's starting to turn into a gossip session at the lunch table. And again, two things can be true. Just because something is gossip, don't mean it ain't true. But what are we showing the people out there within our community? Like, how many of y'all watched the Vladimir Putin and Tucker Carlson interview? Not many, but we damn sure tuned into Monique. Right? So y'all let me know how y'all feel about Shannon Sharpe at this point. But I feel like he's starting to be messy because, again, it's not even only just a whole bunch of different groundbreaking interviews. It's people all within the same group. You got Kat talking about Tyler, and you got Monique talking about Tyler and Taraji and all the same people. So you kind of like within a mini family and just letting them each come on and air it out. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually Shannon gets checked for something. Because on the flip side, he's doing us justice by giving us these interviews and, you know, we're getting an insider look on what's going on in Hollywood. But on the other side, it's like you are low-key just pushing out drama content. And I know you want better than that for your platform. I know you do.